You are watching CIO TV by Enterprise IT World, a production of Accent Infomedia.
Hello and welcome to CIOTV.live, a sister concern of Enterprise IT World, and the production of Accent Infotech Media. Today it is day 2. We are at Gitex. As you know, Gitex is the biggest trade show as far as IT and technology is concerned. In the region, I'll say it is the biggest one of 2023 the world. We have been speaking to the tech leaders, thought leaders, vendors, partners, and the CIOs, in fact CXOs, to understand their sense of this market, the trends in the market from the investment point of view, from tech adoption point of view. So also we try to understand the sense of cybersecurity landscape, the footprints here. Now I have John Shier, field CTO. Sophos is a Canadian national, but he keeps tab of what's happening in the Middle East and Africa region. John, thank you very much for coming in and speaking to CIOTV.live.
Thanks, Sanjay. It's great to be here.
John, you know, today's enterprises, the customers, they have been utilizing a lot of sophisticated solutions, which start from XDR to SIEM, SOAR, SOC, lot many, but still then they are unable to understand the threat landscape. They are unable to understand, unable to keep tab of threat intelligence was going to happen. So somehow or other they get victim after a certain period of time. Why is it so?
I think despite all of the products that you mentioned and despite all of the protection that they try to put in place, sometimes it's the little failures that end up with big breaches. So we do a lot of research in this area, and one of the things that I've found in one of our latest reports, The Active Adversary, was that compromised credentials was the #1 root cause for a lot of these attacks that we investigated as part of our incident response team. And compromised credentials are very simply something that either a cybercriminal has stolen from you or they found it in a breach database somewhere and have reused it against you. They could be gathered by initial access brokers as well. What's worrying about things like compromised credentials is, specifically in the attacks that we investigated, was that within 39% of the cases, there was no multi-factor authentication. So those stolen credentials were able to use directly on the victim's networks, and they were able to basically waltz right in the front door. Now, following compromised credentials, we have exploiting a vulnerability was the second most root cause for these breaches, which means that people still are either not patching enough or they're not patching with the right priority on the right assets. And when your exposed services and when your external assets aren't being patched with priority, then the cyber criminals are finding these assets. They're finding usually some very trivial and exploitable software, and they are again waltzing right through the front door. So despite all these products, again, if you're missing some of the basics, some of the security, the foundational security principles that help keep an organization secure, you can still get hit.
Yes, John, you rightly mentioned about the credential thieving. You are keeping your doors open for the perpetrators to sneak inside. So also the other thing you said that the problem with the software patching, the OS patching, I have seen many customers are still using the legacy software. They are not keen to upgrade themselves, and patching is a secondary thing. That's human always. So it means somehow the human error is responsible for large breaches.
Humans are definitely part of it, but humans can also be part of the solution. And one of the things that we're finding is, in order to respond to all of these attacks, to all of the cyber criminals that are trying to knock down your front door every single day, is you need to have, obviously, these protection products that we talk about all the time, but you need to be watching. And that is part human, part machine. You need to have the machines looking for suspicious signals, alerting the humans, who can then go on the offensive and start threat hunting, and are able to do the analysis of these suspicious signals to see, is there actually somebody in our network? Is there somebody trying to get into our network? Or is this maybe something that's benign and we can ignore for now? But the humans need to be able to do that. And so while, yes, humans will always be fooled, people are going to click on links, people are going to open attachments they're not supposed to, they can also be used to great effect when you're paying attention and when you're acting on suspicious signals and responding to events within your network. Before the criminals get to do a lot more damage, the humans can stop them in their tracks.
John, every country these days have got those response teams. The mandates are there with the governments also. Beside that, enterprises, the customers, do you think that they need to have that planning or strategy within their organizations to remediate or act upon any aberration happens?
I absolutely think that people need to have response plans. So if you're watching and you know what you're looking at, then you need to know how to respond. And those response plans are going to differ depending on what it is that's attacking you, right? Organizations probably already have disaster recovery plans or business recovery plans that address things like natural disasters or power outages. Well, responding to ransomware is no different, really. It's your services are unavailable, you need to recover, but how you recover is very different than how you recover from, let's say, a fire or a flood. And so, yes, I think that having these response plans, having them detailed for a variety of different scenarios, because a coin miner response is going to be different than a ransomware response, and then practicing those responses to understand where are the potential failures in your response. So run tabletop exercises, run through the response, improve your response, and keep doing that and keep practicing. I can guarantee you the cyber criminals are practicing every day to break into our networks. We need to practice just as much to keep them out.
Then what about these newest technologies, generative AIs that the cyber criminals are using these days? They deploy that and just go and sleep, do whatever they like to do, and wait for the time that AI does everything.
So thankfully, as of now, the AI use has been fairly limited in scope. What we are seeing is that generative AI is definitely being used for crafting phishing emails. Potentially some of the documents that are inside those phishing emails can use AI to craft the language in them. They're definitely using AI and AI bots for scam campaigns. For example, we see a lot of scam campaigns trying to steal cryptocurrency. But thankfully, as I said, they aren't using it for malware generation. They're not using it generally for automated attacks. The reality is what they're doing today by hand is already working. And so they don't have to go to another tool, to something like AI, because they're making enough money as it is with the current playbooks that they're running. That's not to say that these things won't change in the future. As companies get better protected, as companies get better at preventing and responding to attacks, the cyber criminals might have to up their game and might have to start using AI in different ways. But for now, thankfully, again, they aren't using AI to create malware. They're just using AI for the social and cultural aspects of things.
Then what to do with these social engineering attacks? Human is always human. Whatever trained you are, whatever skill set you have, something or other popping out, and you go and you tend to click on that, and you end up in creating a big mess for your organization.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about security awareness in our industry, right? I like to break those two words apart. I like to say you need security and awareness. And the security part is generally the product side of things. It's the technology that you're going to use to protect against these things. So you put some preventive technologies in the way. Things like, and this is where AI on the defensive side can be useful, right? Being able to detect phishing URLs, phishing emails, those kinds of things, and block them before they even reach a user's inbox. And on the back end, if a user happens to click on a link where they shouldn't have, or open an attachment where they shouldn't have, We should have, again, more technology that's able to contain that attack to that one host and make sure that the damage doesn't spread out to the rest of the network. The awareness side, again, is where we talk to the humans and make sure that they understand the types of things that criminals might do, right? They will send you an email with a strong call to action that may have a link or may have an attachment in it. Be careful. Now, let's look at some job functions, right? Human resources. They get unsolicited emails with attachments in them all the time. So we can't stop those humans from opening those attachments, but we might be able to use processes and technology to make it a little bit safer. Maybe we get them a specific VM or a specific desktop or endpoint where they can open all those things. That's a little bit more protected, but we can still then let them do their jobs. So security plus awareness, I think, is where we need to get to, because just having awareness that something bad's going to happen is not enough.
All right, John, I think actually it's a great learning from you from a top, perspective. Now, Sophos as an organization, you create a lot of advisory for different sectors, different industries, different geographies as well. Now, geopolitical situation has impacted on creating massive attacks, breaching very big organizations, even governments. What is your reading now? Because the things are becoming really, really dark going forward.
So we're always going to see governments attacking each other. They've been doing so from a signals intelligence point of view for a long time. But my biggest worry is the cyber criminals out there that are attacking businesses every single day. The cyber criminals are in it to make money. They don't care who they attack for the most part. They attack healthcare, they attack education, they attack critical sectors. Now some of them say they don't, but there's plenty of other cyber criminals out there that are happy to do so and make money off of that. And so that is our worry. That is what we're trying to protect against, is the vast amount of cyber criminals out there that are attacking any and every organization in the hope that they can make tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars from them. We want to make sure that these cyber attackers are not successful and that organizations stay safe.
All right, John, thank you very much for answering that very critical question. And everybody is really wary about the spillover effect that every country or every organization may see. So do you have any specific inputs for this region as well?
For this region and any region, it's about building a solid security foundation that I mentioned earlier, right? If you're making sure that you are using things like multi-factor authentication, if you're removing unneeded services from the internet and protecting those services that are required, web servers, VPN gateways, those kinds of things, making sure that you're patching continually, making sure that you're watching everything all the time and understanding what you're looking at, and then be prepared to respond. I think not only for this region, but for any region, that's going to make sure that at least the cyber criminals that are not as capable, that are just looking for a weak target, they'll bypass you and go on to the next one. Now, if we can all do that, then we can put the cyber criminals out of business.
What is that piece which can help the organization, their workforce to enhance their awareness? Awareness is something, whatever you do, is actually less.
Well, things like this obviously help, right? This is part of the awareness. It's talking to people and making them understand what we're seeing so that they can then think about their environments and understand potentially where they're weak, but where they might have holes that they need to look at. And awareness is talking to your employees. It's making sure that they continually know that these big bad cybersecurity attacks that you hear about, these hacks that you hear about on the news, they're not just for big companies. They're for everybody, right? Most of these attackers are opportunistic. They will go after weak targets, and if your organization is weak, you will fall prey to a cyber attack. So when it comes to awareness, it's just we need to keep talking about it. We need to keep spreading the word. But as I said, always got to have that security in there, and you want to make sure that you have the technologies in place that help you detect and respond to threats when they do arise, because they will arise in your network sooner or later.
John, the final question that you are here in this expo, as I said, that is this is one of the largest, I'll say the largest expo of this year, 2023. You must be engaging with thousands of customers. What is the piece of advice you are giving to them apart from this, creating awareness, reskilling their workforce, reskilling themselves?
Don't do it by yourself, right? I think a lot of companies out there that are lacking the resources to do security fully and properly are still trying to do it by themselves. They're trying to, they're trying to do everything. They're trying to do IT, they're trying to do operational stuff, they're trying to do security. There are plenty of people, as you say, in the largest tech show here, there are plenty of people here that want to help, that have the skill resources and the knowledge necessary to be able to help you deflect cyber attacks and keep the bad guys out of your network. So don't hesitate to ask for help. At Sophos, we have our MDR service, our Managed Detection and Response service, which is there to partner with businesses to make sure that they are putting their best security foot forward. You know your business, we know security. Let's work together and make a more secure organization for the future.
You mentioned about XDR, MDR, right? Now people are saying that you need to have SIEM also. There are arguments that XDR or MDR are not enough. Need to have SIEM solution. Some people are saying that if you are XDR, then that's good enough. You need to worry about the SOC services, the SIEM services.
Well, it's not so much SOC services and SIEM services. When we talk about things like MDR specifically, it's bringing together all the data, all the telemetry within your organization that then can be contextually analyzed, right? We can look at everything in one spot and go, well, there's a few signals, one on your firewall, there's one on this endpoint, there's one on that server. Well, all those three together, that signals an attack, right? That intelligence can potentially come from a SIEM, right? But again, you need to know what you're looking at, and I think that's the downfall sometimes with a lot of these aggregating products is they bring a lot of different telemetry together, but it doesn't correlate, doesn't make sense. You need to be an expert in each and every one in order to make sense of it. Whereas with an MDR service, we've got the expertise, we've got the normalization already in place that we can see the context and we can provide you with that context so that you can make better security decisions.
So what is your conclusive remark on should a customer go for both, or should a customer be happy or content with MDR so that his purpose can be solved?
Well, I think what happens is if you are a subscriber of an MDR service, you can sleep a little better at night knowing that security is taken care of, somebody's watching 24/7, right? And you can then start to focus a little bit more on some of the business improvements that you might be wanting to make from a technology perspective. So if you've got, as I said, you know your business, we know security. If you've got a partner that is looking over your shoulder and handling the security for you, you can manage the business, you can accelerate the business and do more, and I think that's a win-win for everybody.
All right, John, thank you very much for taking time out and speaking to CIOTV.live and sharing your knowledge and learnings of this market and global landscape as well.
Thanks, Sanjay. It was my pleasure being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was John Shier, CTO, Sophos. You heard him speak a lot about the landscape, threat intelligence, and the necessary steps that the customer need to take to keep themselves safe. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Gitex, which is more on the threat landscape and threat intelligence. Thank you.